Hi, it's Dwyer, GamblersAdvisory.com. This weekend we have the rematch of Juan Diaz versus Paulie Malignaggi. I was going to stay on the sidelines on this fight. I did think that Malignaggi won their first fight, even though the judges in Houston gave that fight to Juan Diaz. However, the props have broken the right way. The lines have broken the right way, and I think there is a money-making opportunity on this fight. It's a straddle play that I'm going to recommend here. I believe you want to have money on both fighters. The bet I'm recommending is Juan Diaz by decision. You get a 13 over 10, and Paulie Malignaggi by decision. You get an 8 over 5. Because you're getting better than even money on both sides of the bet, you actually profit if, in fact, the fight goes the distance and either guy wins by decision. Now, let me just point out a few things. Counterpunchers tend to do better in rematches. There's only one counterpuncher in this fight. It's Paulie Malignaggi. Juan Diaz is what I call a pattern fighter. Pattern fighters have a formula that works for them, and so they don't make adjustments against opponents based on style. Rather, once the fight starts, as Mike Tyson used to say, everyone has a plan until they get hit. Once the fight really starts, these pattern fighters revert to their pattern and just fight the way they always have. I expect Juan Diaz to fight exactly the way he did in the first fight. Now, that first fight went the distance. Diaz is a volume puncher. He is not a one power puncher. He doesn't have what I call pure knockout power. That first fight went the distance. I don't believe Diaz will be able to put down Paulie Malignaggi in this one. Now, Paulie Malignaggi, I expect him to do better than the first fight because counterpunchers spend 3 to 4 rounds of fights actually figuring out the patterns and angles of their opponents before they actually start to assert themselves. In rematches, you don't have to spend the 3 or 4 rounds because you've already seen your opponent. After the first round, your memory has been jogged as to exactly what to expect from that opponent. So I expect Malignaggi to do better than he did in the first fight. However, Paulie Malignaggi hasn't knocked anyone out in 5 years, and more than 5 years. So even though I expect Malignaggi, who is a one-handed fighter, even though I expect Malignaggi to do much better than he did in the first fight, I do not expect him to win the fight by KO. So I actually believe that there are only two outcomes that could happen in this fight, and you can cover the bases by taking both of them, right? Keep in mind, if I'm wrong, you lose on both halves of the bet. Understand it's your money, it's your risk. This is just a recommendation, right? There's no crying in boxing. What I'm recommending is a straddle between Diaz by decision and Malignaggi by decision. I definitely see this fight going the distance. You're either going to get 13 over 10 or 8 over 5 or 16 over 10, right? In other words, you're going to profit if either Diaz wins by decision or Malignaggi wins by decision. I prefer doing the straddle to straight over under because the odds on the straddle, quite frankly, are better. Let me also point out, too, that this fight is taking place in Chicago. Malignaggi is from New York City. Diaz is from Houston, so both of the guys are going to be fighting before a different crowd. For conspiracy theorists out there, they know that Diaz is a golden boy fighter. The 140-pound weight class has several opportunities for whoever can get on top of it. Ricky Hatton is talking about lingering around 140. You have Ali Faneca, who I thought schooled Joan Guzman, but of course got jobbed with a draw. You have Nate Campbell still loitering around the division. There is a lot of money. Ricardo Torres, there is a lot of money in the 140. So if you're a big conspiracy theorist, you might believe that the boxing gods are favoring Juan Diaz in this fight. Me personally, I think Paulie Malignaggi is one of the toughest matchups in boxing. Keep in mind, this is a guy who went the distance with Miguel Cotto. This is a guy who has fought world-class fighters. Juan Diaz, Love Morendu. He's very hard to stop. The only reason his fight against Ricky Hatton did not go the distance is because his cornerman, Buddy McGirt, I thought prematurely ended that fight. I thought even in that fight, Malignaggi was clearly on his way to going the distance. So I think with Malignaggi, you know that he's going to go the distance. And quite frankly, uh, I'm not sure if Juan Diaz is going to be able to keep up with Malignaggi in this fight. But you don't even have to take Malignaggi outright to make money. What I'm recommending here is a straddle. Diaz by decision, Malignaggi by decision. You are absolutely wasting your money if you take Malignaggi by knockout because Malignaggi simply doesn't have a knockout punch. Um, at least not one that has surfaced for the last 5 years of his career. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments for me here on YouTube. Visit us at predictboxing.blogspot.com and gamblersadvisory.com. And it should be a spirited fight because keep in mind, in rematches, usually the fight starts in the 13th round. Let me grab that phone. Thanks for watching.